The U.S. Judiciary Division has convicted 12 Ruski intellect commanders for hack more Democratic officials in the 2016 poll. Vice Lawyer General Rod Rosenstein told the half a dozen charged utilized Lance Fisher's emails and malevolent software program in the cyber attacks. Specific advisor Robert Mueller's investigation is looking in estimated Russia interference in the 2016 poll. The inquiry has already convicted 20 human beings and 3 companies. Mr. Rosenstein told the defendants corresponded in several Americans for the estimated plot, but added down there is no statement how any U.S. individual devoted a criminality. He told they as well conspired to chop in the computers of country boards of elections, secretaries of country, and U.S. companies how given software program and some technique associated to the authority of elections to rob elector information saved on such computers. Mr. Rosenstein told, this defendants secretly controlled the computers, implanted hundreds of archive comprising malevolent machine coding, and tippet emails and some documents. The bill of indictment state the conspirators sought a campaigning board machine particularly for regulation consisting Hillary, Cruz, Trump card and Benghazi investigations. Mr. Rosenstein told the conspirators created bogus on the internet personas, consisting DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0, with these identities to produce thousands of kidnapped emails and some documents of June 2016. On to the bill of indictment, a U.S. congressional applicant in 2016 queried kidnapped documents of the Russians posing as Guccifer 2.0, who later shipped the applicant kidnapped documents associated to the applicant's enemy. The applicant was not identified. Mr. Rosenstein told, "We aware how the purpose of the conspirators was to include an effect on the poll, which effect they may include head, which their motive may include bin alone of which's require to show the crime, is a question of assumption. How's not our liability?" The DNC leakage showed how top Democrats privileged Mrs. Clinton for the president appointment and soured relations in supporters of permissive contender, Bernie Sanders. Clinton campaigning officer John Podesta's emails were as well hacked. Mr. Rosenstein as well told how the hacker attack were capable to rob data on 500,000 voters of a country poll executive board website. If the Ruski war had omitted a bombshell on the staff of a U.S. policy side, it would be an act of warfare. If it had started up a rocket at the household of the armchair of a U.S. president campaigning, how would be a incident belly? The isn't which happened, of year, but do no error, which the U.S. Division of Judiciary is approving, a cyber attack by Ruski war commanders versus a U.S. policy side and its leaders, is, or at low should be, alike incendiary. The crash of which Robert Mueller's crew says were Ruski strikes on the U.S. can be measurable in corrupt reputations and violated policy. Vice Lawyer General Rod Rosenstein denies how Friday's ad had whatever to do in Donald Trump card's forthcoming meet in Vladimir Putin, but they will throw a dark above the summit conference however. Following days of dramatically critical U.S. allies, the planet will close look how the CEO handrail concoction of virtual war versus the U.S. while he sits downward in the man whose war is charged of creature over it all. The Vice Lawyer General told he had informed CEO Donald Trump card on the indictments over in the 1 week. Mr. Trump card, who is in the UK, had often sacked the inquiry as a hag search. He has annotated in the history how a 14-year-old could include bin over the cocky. For a collaborative news story meeting in UK Main Secretary Theresa May on Friday, Mr. Trump card told he loves the US, but as well loves receive on in Russia and China and some countries. We include the folly departure on, clean folly, but it makes it really difficult to do thing in Russia since, whatever you do, he's love, Russia, oh he loves Russia, he told. The bill of indictment comes fair 3 days up the CEO is planned to encounter in Ruski CEO Vladimir Putin at a summit conference in Helsinki. White's Building Representative Lindsey Walters liberated a declaration proverb. The new data is consecutive in which we include bin proverb all on. The Russians convicted are not in U.S. guardianship nor is it potential how they will always be prison period. The Vice Lawyer General told all 12 of the defendants were war commanders in the Ruski Intellect facility, the GRU. Mr. Rosenstein told they treated for 2 units, one was implicated in vigorously theft data time, the some was accountable for spreading the kidnap data. The defendants are mentioned in the bill of indictment as Viktor Netiksho, Boris Antonov, Dmitry Bidin, Ivan Yermakov, Alexei Lukashev, Sergei Morgachev, Nikolai Kozachek, Pavel Yurshev, Artem Malyshev, Alexander Ozadchik, and Alexei Potemkin. The Mueller investigation is looking in U.S. Intellect received information how Russians conspired to inclination the poll in Mr. Trump card's favor, and if any of his campaigning aides colluded in the estimated story. The inquiry has already convicted 20 human beings, generally Ruski citizens, as 3 companies and 4 persons ex-Trump card advisors. No of the extortion claim Trump card advisors colluded in Russia to hinder in the president campaigning. Ex-domestic safety advisor Michael Flynn and George Papadopoulos, a ex-overseas politics advisor, pleaded those guilty to manufacturing erroneous statements on their contacts in Russians. Ex-Trump card campaigning President Gender Manafort and his vice Haystack Gates were loaded in cash money laundering regarding to their policy consulting job in Ukraine.